Hey, my name is Ray and you're watching Ray of Books. Today's video is going to be about my foray into the mystery genre. One of the many reasons why I've taken such an incredibly long hiatus away from BookTube is because my reading has been incredibly stagnant lately. I have not felt the same joy at reading any new novels. I haven't felt any comfort in going back and rereading my comfort reads. I just have not felt like a reader in what feels like a few months. So, in an attempt to reinvigorate my reading, I decided that I would try to explore some genres that I usually steer clear of. And the first of those is the mystery genre. Now, this doesn't mean that I have never ever read a mystery book before. A few years ago, I actually had the goal of reading every single one of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes short stories, and I did. And I loved every single one of them. But what ended up happening after that is I read too many bad mysteries back to back that I ended up kind of falling out of interest with the genre and just steering clear of it in general. But lately, I've been doing a lot of reader's advisory, which is just library jargon for book recommendations for people who want to read mystery based on their other reading preferences. And I figured if, I haven't gotten any
this recommendation sucked, I'm never coming back to the library,
people coming at me, then I must be doing okay with recommending mystery novels to folks. So I decided to peruse my local library's stacks, specifically the mystery section, and grab a few mystery books and see what I like and see what I don't like. So without further ado, let us talk about the books that I am using in my foray into mysteries. The first book in my little pile-up is An Elderly Lady's Up to No Good by Helene Tursten and translated by Marlene Delargy. This is a collection of 6 short stories set in Sweden that fall under the crime and thriller mystery subgenre. The stories follow 88-year-old woman Maud, who is a bit of a recluse who spends the majority of her free time surfing the internet and traveling. Maud may seem like an incredibly sweet and caring old lady, however, she is not above a little bit of murder in order to continue to get the things that she wants and make sure that life goes her way. One of the main reasons why I picked this one up is because I already know that I enjoy mysteries in a short story format, but I just wanted to make sure that I really do enjoy mysteries in the short story format, and also because, let's face it, this book is absolutely adorable. It is tiny, it's like a perfect little rectangle situation. It's just a cute book all around, and I can't believe that it's a crime/thriller when it's just so gosh darn adorable. Next up in my pile is Homicide in Hardcover by Kate Carlisle, and this is the first in the Bibliophile mystery series. This is a cozy mystery/thriller. It's set in San Francisco and follows a woman named Brooklyn who is a skilled book restorer. On the eve of her mentor and a bit of a rival's celebrated book restoration, she finds him dying in a pool of his own blood. And as he lays there dying, he hands her a copy of a cursed edition of Faust and tells her to remember the devil. Brooklyn becomes determined to figure out what has happened to her mentor, who wanted him dead, and is this copy of Faust truly cursed or not? One of the main reasons why I picked this one up is because it is set in San Francisco. I live in San Francisco and I love reading books set in San Francisco. And the second reason why I picked this one up is because I love books about books. So I'm hoping that that will translate well into mysteries about books as well. Next up in my pile is Death by Dumpling by Vivien, and this is the first in a Noodle Shop mystery series. This one is a cozy mystery centered around food. It takes place in Cleveland, Ohio, and follows the main character, Lana. Lana has returned to work at her family's restaurant after an epic breakup and an epic mental breakdown that caused her to quit her previous place of employment. One day, Lana delivers a takeout order to the restaurant's property manager, and shortly after that, the property manager is found dead. Now, Lana has to figure out how to clear herself of the murder along with her co-workers. One of the main reasons why I picked this one up is because it sounded really interesting, and not gonna lie, the cover really grabbed my interest. I like food. I love food. I love books that are about food. So I'm hoping that will translate over into mysteries as well, because I do like the idea of a food-based mystery. So fingers crossed that I enjoy this one. Next up in the pile is Agatha Christie's Murder at the Vicarage, which is the first in the Miss Marple mystery series. This is a classic mystery. It takes place in a small English countryside village, and the story follows the murder of a local, much disliked magistrate who is found shot in the head in the vicar's study. Miss Marple is determined to solve the case, and she plans to do so without the help of the police at all. Apparently, there are no strong leads on this case because everybody hated this local magistrate, so it's the classic whodunit type of situation. One of the main reasons why I picked this one up is because I felt that there was no way I could do a proper foray into mysteries without reading at least one of the all-time classic mystery writers. I've never read anything by Agatha Christie before. I have actually never even watched her movie, what is it, Murder on the Orient Express? Like, I've heard about it. I've heard so much about it, but I've never watched it. So I figured I should probably give her book a read and hope that it's not too outdated, too old. I don't know. I don't know why I have avoided her books for so long, but I am looking forward to reading it now that I have my hands on it. The next book that would be in my pile, but seems to have gone missing, is called A Brushstroke of Death by Bethany Blake, and it is the first in the Owl and Crescent series. This is a cozy mystery with a little bit of a fantasy twist set in Pennsylvania. The story follows a woman named Willow who is an artist and who also sees visions. Together with her owl companion Rembrandt, she is determined to solve the murder of a much despised local restaurant owner. As she's solving this murder, there is a very attractive detective who appears, and Willow is a little bit concerned that maybe she has just conjured him up. Now, I know this one sounds incredibly cheesy. There is so much cheese to be had here, but I like fantasy. So I was looking for something lighthearted, because I think lighthearted is what I want. And fantasy and lighthearted very rarely goes together whenever I tend to read fantasy, so I figured this would be an interesting attempt at seeing if I like lighthearted fantasy. So this one is checking a whole bunch of boxes for me. And I also love a good animal companion type of story. It's maybe one of my guilty pleasures. It's my reading kink. If reading kinks are a thing, that would be my reading kink, like animal companionship with fantasy things. But only in a reading kink, not in like a real life kink. That would be very awkward. But I'm not yucking anyone's yum. Okay, anywho, the next book in the pile is A Deadly Inside Scoop by Abby Collette, and this is the first in an ice cream parlor series. This is another cozy mystery centered around food. It also takes place in Ohio, and it follows a woman named Bronwyn who is attempting to restore her family's ice cream parlor back to its former glory. However, her reopening, which was originally planned for summer, has been delayed all the way until winter due to construction problems. And when she is finally set to reopen, the body of a man who her father had some serious beef with is found behind her ice cream parlor. So not only does she have to clear her father's name in this murder, she also is very determined to make her business succeed. Now, one of the main reasons why I picked this one up is because not because it was a cozy mystery, but because the cover grabbed my attention. It had a black hand on it. There's a black hand, which made me cross my fingers and hope that it was written by a black woman, which it was, because I noticed in all of my browsing, I was not coming across books by black authors, like at all. So I was really excited to find a cozy mystery written by a black author, and I am very much looking forward to this one, even though I am a little bit concerned that I might have ended up with one too many cozy mysteries about food. The next book in my pileup is Fresh Brewed Murder by Emmeline Duncan, and this is apparently the first in a new series, but I have no idea what that series is because it is nowhere to be found on the book. This is another cozy mystery that's centered around food. It takes place in Portland, Oregon, and follows a woman named Sage who has incredibly high hopes for her brand new coffee cart business called Ground Rules. One day, a customer of this little kind of coffee cart, food cart consortium ends up dead, and Sage's box cutter appears to be the murder weapon. Now, apparently there's a lot of animosity going on in this region. One, because Sage's coffee cart has taken a much coveted spot, and two, because there are some high-rise buildings being built across the street from this little food court area. Now, I picked this one up because the cover looked really cool and it just looked cute and interesting, but now that I keep thinking about the synopsis and how many other food-based cozy mysteries I have, I might just not end up reading this one, or I might give it a try. I'll give it 15 pages of my time, but besides from that, I am a little bit unsure of this one, and I think that's one of the problems that happens when you just grab things based off of covers. Next up in my dwindling pile, thank goodness, is The Silver Gun by L.A. Chandlar, and this is the first in an Art Deco mystery series. This is a cozy mystery of the historical genre, according to Goodreads at least, and it is set in New York in 1936. The story follows a woman named Lane who is the personal aide to Mayor Fiorelli LaGuardia. I could have horribly butchered his name. Her job keeps her so incredibly busy that she has little time to dwell on her childhood dreams of a silver gun. However, one day Lane is assaulted by a man who is wielding the same silver gun that she's been seeing in her dreams. Lane becomes obsessed with this, and she decides to figure out who this man was, and it links her to a underground crime ring. So as the list of suspects are mounting up, Lane is also trying to keep her job, juggle an affair, and figure out what she has to do with this silver gun. It sounds really interesting. It sounds really intense. I love historical fiction, so I'm really hoping that that crosses well over into the mystery genre, which is one of the main reasons why I picked this book out. However, I am nervous. The last historical mystery that I read, I think, was a Michael Jex mystery, and I did not enjoy it. However, there were some Karen Harper historical mysteries that I really enjoyed, so I enjoyed those. So I'm a little bit tense and nervous about this one. Also, I'm not very fond of historical fiction set in America in the early 1900s. So this should be an interesting one for me. My fingers are crossed that I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going into it with high hopes and good feelings. However, I am just incredibly nervous because if I don't like it, I'm going to be very, very sad. And there are only 3 books left to go. Next up is Black Noir, Mystery, Crime, and Suspense Fiction by African-American authors, edited by Otto Penzler. It is essentially a short story collection, right? I mean, that's kind of what anthologies are, short story collections. This is this is the only book that I did not find through browsing. I actually came across this one at the very end of everything when I decided to look and see who some of the popular or prolific Black mystery writers are, because I was absolutely amazed that I barely found any when I was browsing. So that's how I came across this one. The only Black mystery author who I can think of is Walter Mosley. And I've read Walter Mosley before, which is why he doesn't have a book in this pile up. And I've enjoyed his books before, which is why he didn't have a book in this pile up. So I'm excited to see what other Black or African American mystery writers are out there, and I figured a good way to dive into that would just be through an overall short story collection. So fingers crossed that I find someone in this collection that I enjoy. And then there were two. Second to last is The Almanack by Martine Bailey. This is a historical mystery set in London and also a kind of series of small English countryside villages in the late 1800s. It follows a woman named Tabitha, who is an ex-prostitute who is summoned home by her mother through a series of urgent letters around midsummer. When Tabitha returns back to her home village, she discovers that her mother has drowned. As Tabitha is going through her mother's almanac, she discovers a ton of cryptic notes and suspicions about a man named D. Tabitha teams up with local author Nate, and they become determined to figure out who killed Tabitha's mother and why. Now, I love a good prostitute story. I love main characters that are prostitutes and who are not apologetic at all about their profession. So I am really hoping that Tabitha falls into that category. What I'm not hoping this book has is some kind of preachy love will save you from prostitution type of message. Just because I know that in the late 1800s there were some really badass prostitutes who were making bank and living their best lives. So I'm really hoping that that's not the case of this book. And also I picked this one up because I love historical mysteries. I love historical fiction. I'm hoping to love historical mysteries. See, if I keep saying it, maybe it'll happen. And also because the cover looked really pretty. So another cover grab for me that I have incredibly high hopes for. So please, book gods, let me have this one, please. And the last book in my pile up is Plaid and Plagiarism by Molly McRae, and this is the first in the Highland Bookshop mystery series. This is yet another cozy mystery. However, this one is set in a bookshop. It is set in Scotland, I believe in a more modern era, and follows 4 women who have decided to open a bookshop in Scotland. And on the eve or something around that of their bookshop's reopening, one of these women finds a dead body in her garden shed, which completely and totally halts their reopening plans until the murderer of this body has been found. Now, I picked this one up because I like books about books, of course. I love books about bookshops as well. But what worries me is I think I have picked this one up before, and I think it was one of the mysteries that turned me off of mysteries. So I am actually terrified to read this one because I don't think I can handle being turned off from mysteries again when I have checked out so many mystery books at this junction. So I'm going to save this one for last in terms of my reading list of these mysteries, and I'm truly just going to hope for the best because it sounds really good, but I still have this sinking suspicion. Like, it's a really strong sinking suspicion that I tried to read this one before and I did not enjoy it. Maybe this time I'll enjoy it. Maybe I have the wrong book. Maybe I'm scared for no reason. And that is essentially it. That is my giant pile of mysteries gone. They're finished. I've talked about each and every single one of them. Now, of course, it wouldn't be Array of Books Radio without me asking you guys some questions. First of which is, what is your favorite mystery genre? And if you don't have a favorite mystery genre, let me know what your favorite mystery book as a whole is. And oh my gosh, there were 3 questions this time. And if you don't like mysteries, why not? Because I'm very curious as to what exactly was the moment that turned me off from mysteries, and I want to know what other people's potential turn off from mysteries is as well. As per usual, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you ever want to see and or hear me babble about books ever again, please hit that subscribe button. It really does mean the world to me. I do fully, totally, completely intend on actually resuming making consistent YouTube videos. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's manifest it for us. Let's hope that free time is on my horizon. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.